plain, ordinary, wishful dreaming.
In een tijd van ver voor de Walkman zeulde John Lennon met een houten kist waarin een jukebox gemonteerd was, waarop 40 singles vielen af te spelen. De titels van de nummers staan in zijn handschrift genoteerd en vormen een vrolijke mix van rock'n'roll, rhythm and blues en soulmuziek. Lennons favoriete top 40 is meer dan een klassieke verzameling hitsingles. Het blijkt ook een bron van inspiratie te zijn geweest voor talloze Beatles-songs. John Lennon's Jukebox.
I had no idea about doing music as a way of life until rock and roll hit me. And then when rock and roll hit me, that changed my whole life.
Well, we bop-a-loo-da, she's my baby. We bop-a-loo-da, don't mean neighbor. We bop-a-loo-da, she's my baby. We bop-a-loo-da, don't mean neighbor. We bop-a-loo-da, she's my baby.
I was just interested in the music and how to do it. How can I do that? Which is what I was doing, studying the records. I studied the records. What are they saying? How are they doing it? How do they make this music? What is it that they're doing that excites me, that I want to do it?
She's the woman that loves me so, say, be-bop-a-loo-la, she's my baby. Be-bop-a-loo-la, I don't mind my baby. Be-bop-a-loo-la, she's my baby, my baby, my baby. That's right!
Rock and roll only came into our consciousness when white people did it. I think it was a euphemism for fucking. The actual word, rock and roll, it meant in bed together, rocking and rolling, and that's what they were talking about.
Well, she's the one that's got that beat. She's the one with the flying feet.
I remember Bebop-A-Lula. My mother brought that into the house. 1957? I mean, I must have been 6 at the time. I remember rolling around the floor in some kind of religious, just rolling, shaking. It was so exciting. Some guy screams on the record. It's fantastic record. Let's see. It seemed, a record seems like a magical artifact, something that came from another planet. America.
God, what's that?
Oh, boy.
That looks like a giant typewriter from 1943.
I was surprised that there wasn't one Beatles record.
If that was our jukebox, I can assure you there'd be 500 Lieber and Stoller songs on it, and there might be one Little Richard.
When I was a kid, I was a fan of Elvis Presley and Little Richard and Chuck Berry. Up till then, all rock and rollers basically had been black and poor, rural South or whatever, city slum. Mm-hmm. And the whites had been truckers like Elvis. So rock and roll, this bit about when did it start, when did the honkies notice it, that it was something strong, powerful, and beautiful?
Well, come on, everybody, take a trip with me. Well, down the Mississippi, down to New Orleans. They got the honeysuckle blooming on the honeysuckle vine. And the love is a blooming there all the time. You know, every Southern belle is a Mississippi queen. Down the Mississippi, down in New Orleans. I said, hey, 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 yeah. I said, hey, 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 yeah.
I think John Lennon and the guys would have probably heard it in somewhere in 60, because for about a year nobody played it. No radio station in the country would even touch it. you know, in '59, which is why the record wasn't even considered out until 1960 because we couldn't get anybody to play it. In those days, music was put into categories back in the 50s, early 60s, you know. It was R&B that was played on black stations, and there was pop that was played on white stations. And mine got played on white stations and black stations. I got lucky. They didn't know I was black, which is why we didn't tour until 1962. Because if we had, then everybody would have known, and then it would have been a whole different scene. They didn't find out I was black until 1962. And by then, they had put out 3 records on me, and it had all gone on the pop charts. And by then, it was too late. Couldn't take it back then.
I don't you know that I danced to the ball of the street, or in the head that night with Daddy Hickey. He was swinging on the sax with the girls of two, and I was dancing all over the room. I don't you know the people were dancing like they were ready.
I was just too cute to be true.
Let me tell you that I never had it so good. Yeah, I know you never until you get that kind of with that jive.
In '62, I went to England and I met the Beatles and enjoyed a tour over there. And if I'm not mistaken, they did background for us over there. I think we fired them in '62 also, because they were pretty bad. They got us back for firing them, I tell you that.
Another American record that nobody I know over here seems to have ever heard of it, and it's called Some Other Guy by Richie Barrett. There is a strange bootlegs of the Beatles singing it rather crappily from the cabin somewhere way back in '61. And this is a guy called Richie Barrett, who's also a songwriter. I think he's still around, but I don't know what he's doing. This is Some Other Guy. You'll notice the intro is slightly like Instant Karma.
Some Other Guy.
Oh, Some Other Guy. Didn't you write that?
No, you wrote that with me.
Oh.
And Richie Barrett.
And Richie Barrett, the singer, right? Sounds a little like Ray Charles.
A little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Some other guys taking this, some other guys doing this, some other guys doing that, and it just fell into the chord progressions. You know, and all I do is put the part to it that made the story. Stealing my girl, slipping away, pouring water on my fire, the whole 9. Taking her love just like a hog, you know? Taking her love just like a dog, you know, like a yellow dog. The lyrics just fell in as a situation with a guy in Harlem going through trials and tribulations with his girlfriends or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. And I just took it from that, from a walk of life.
He came to our office and, like most people did, who were songwriters. We had a publishing house and a record production unit. In fact, we had the first independent record production situation going in the industry.
Jerry and Mike, you'd go to them because you wanted a hit, and they seemed to have that formula.
And he said, I want to make some records of me. And we said, okay. And he started playing, singing, and he did sound, he was on a Ray Charles kick.
Yeah, I'm doing a Ray Charles takeoff from Some Other Guy. And that's what it was, really, because that's what I had in mind when I did it, because it had that groove, that kind of groove to it, you know? It was released, but it wasn't anything in America. If somebody picked it up and took it over there, and they heard it, and then other artists started to do it in clubs, Jerry and the Pacemakers, and the Big Three, and then the Beatles.
Honestly, I've never heard the Beatles version of Some Other Guy?
I've only heard it a couple of times.
I've never heard it. You know, remind me, do we have it in the library? I guess we do, we should.
Yeah, I guess we do.
I'd like to hear, I really would like to hear it. I never heard it. I know the other songs of ours that the Beatles covered. I mean, they did Kansas City, and Lennon did Stand By Me, and they did Three Cool Cats. That was very early days, before they started really writing for themselves. As the climate and the culture changed, the white performers started to absorb more of the black culture and integrate it into their music.
Twist craze is still going with Chubby Checker and you name it, Sam Cooke, with Twisting the Night Away, and on and on. And Twist and Shout turned out to be one of the biggest songs. Shake it up, we talking about shake your fanny, you know? Shake it up, baby, twist and shout, mix it up. Everybody's wearing those fringy tight dresses. That was like a real hot song. We were like wild in them days, man. We were like jumping off the stage and swinging on the ropes and curtains of the, I mean, we were wild. And everybody would go wild. When you make me want to shout, people would jump up and lose it. So they started doing it, woo, woo. We was doing the woo, shake it up, baby, woo, twist and shout. I remember John and singing with a rough texture voice. They were discovered doing us, you know? They wanted to be like us. They didn't know that, and no group knows in the beginning that you're gonna be that huge.
Yeah, the woo was taken from the Isley Brothers, Twist and Shout. Yeah. Which we stuck in everything, From Me to You, She Loves You, they all had that.
This is an early 60s record by Bobby Parker called Watch Your Step, which I call son of What Did I Say? I mean, there was the great record What Did I Say by Ray Charles, which is the first electric piano I ever heard. And then shortly after, maybe it could have been a year because it all blends in, but this was the next move after What Did I Say, which is Watch Your Step. The lick you recognize, because I've used it, or the Beatles have used it in various forms.
I wrote that song in 1961, and I knew there was a lack of something like that on record. I started playing these kind of licks around D.C. in these clubs, and people liked that lick. So I said, wow, I'm gonna record that. I've heard 57 different arrangements of the particular Watch Your Step guitar lick. The lick became so popular that all over the world that people like young Santana and Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, and just so many groups all over the United Kingdom, over in Europe, they loved it. So they brought it back from over in that area. I think that when the Beatles heard the opening of Watch Your Step. I think that was the beginning of I Feel Fine. I think that particular introduction did a lot for their song.
Baby's good to me, you know she's happy as can be, you know she said so. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. Baby says she's mine, you know she tells me all the time, you know she said so. I'm in love with her and I feel fine.
When they heard a lot of American music, it did a lot for the world. So I think they took a lot of ideas from over here in the States and you know, went with all the licks that they heard.
Especially in the early days, would often write a melody, a lyric in my head to some other song, because I can't write music, so I would carry it around as somebody else's song, and then change it when I got down to putting it down on paper or putting it down on tape. Consciously change it because I knew somebody's going to sue me or everybody's going to say, what a rip-off.
I was flattered by that. I thought it was a cool idea, but I still had back in my mind that I should have got a little more recognition for that. Yeah.
Hey Baby came out in November of 1961. I think really what drew him to the record was Delbert's harmonica playing, and that kind of hit his ear and stayed there, I suppose.
On the record, I was playing straight harp, which is like this. But over the years, I've got to where I play it cross harp, which is like this, because you can push it around more.
Love me do. Whoa, love me.
Brian Jones came over and said, are you playing a harmonica or a harp on Love Me Do? He knew I got this bottom note, and he suspected I said a harmonica, you know, with a button, which wasn't real funky blues enough, you're supposed, but you couldn't get Hey Baby licks on a blues harp. And we were also doing Hey Baby by Bruce Chanel at that time.
After the interview he gave to someone in the 70s where he said that he was, he liked the harmonica on Hey Baby, and well, that was, in that way he did acknowledge that in some way I had had a influence in his playing, but I did not teach him to play the harmonica. It's kind of hard to say how you play in harp because you can't show them, you know what I'm saying? So it's a technique that you just pick up. I worked with Jimmy Reed a lot, Buster Brown, Sonny Boy, Howlin' Wolf, Junior Parker. I picked it up from asking those guys, how the hell do you do that? And they say, well, you got to do this, you know, and you know, after a while, it's kind of like masturbation. You fool around with it, you figure it out.
Love me do. Oh, love me do. Yeah, love me do. Oh, love me do.
In June of 1962, Delbert and I went to England, and on some of these occasions, especially at the Tower Ballroom, one of the gigs we played, the Beatles were on the bill with us. We played, you know, different gigs with them, and one radio show, looking back on it, I felt bad about it because, you know, they were so great, they deserved to be on too, but they got bumped from the radio show for us to be interviewed because we had a hit record.
So it was really interesting for me because I'd never been out of West Texas. Liverpool was a pretty bleak place, bleak and lonely. There were black buildings, you know, and soot and very melancholy in a way. It was kind of biblical bleak. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the storms and the light shafts cutting through and the sea hitting up against that seawall.
But we had a great time in England. It was super time. And I was glad to see the kids so enthused about the music. They loved it.
And they just went apeshit when he came out of the, you know, I mean, nuts, you know, and I remember thinking, Jesus, you know, what is this? Who the hell was expecting that? I know he wasn't. He went down there just like the bumpkin that he was, you know, howdy, I'm so proud to see y'all. And they hit him like a bunch of piranhas, you know. These girls were running alongside the bus screaming and hollering, and they kept doing this. And look, and they had taken a razor blade and cut Bruce's initials in their arms. And it was just swollen and bloody, and they were so proud of it, you know. And that was a turning point for me. I had yet to see anything like that happen.
They weren't hollering for me, personally. They were hollering to be a part of rock and roll, man. And it made us feel good. It made us feel like we were somebody, you know?
I sure didn't go over there expecting my whole musical sense to be picked up and shaken and changed as it was. But getting to see a preview of that invasion.
Riding along in my automobile, my baby beside me at the wheel. I stole a kiss at the turn of a mile, my curiosity running wild, cruising and playing the radio with no particular place to go.
We were so overawed by American radio, we phoned every radio in town just saying, will you play the Ronettes doing this? We didn't ask for our own records. This is another great American record. That's all we ever played, American records.
Wow, what an invention, huh? He certainly liked dance music. Here goes Duck. Duck, D-U-C-K, Donald Duck Dunn, our bass player. You know, and this is the greatest drummer in the world, Al Jackson. And I know John Lennon loved him as much as we did. It really started mainly as a horn line. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And, you know, sort of the rhythm part of it came later. It's obvious why he liked it, because you can dance to it. It's got a great horn line. It's got a neat guitar lick and a bass line and all that. I mean, you can spin from that. So it was a four-piece group, and we played behind most of the records that came out of Stax at that time. We dedicated very little time to Booker T and the MGs, even though we had the success of Green Onions. How do you define the Stax sound? Best way I can put it is, it was just one of those accidents that happened because there was such a collection and what I call a melting pot of musicians from all different walks of life and different styles. And you're right there in the heart of the Delta, and you have all of the states. You've got Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee all coming together. And you got the river bringing people up and taking them down. It was obviously a mixed group. We were in sort of an ethnic area of Memphis. The record shop, Satellite Record Shop, was right there in an ethnic area. The people around that record shop, you know, bought a lot of blues. And, you know, the town was segregated, but Stax Records was totally integrated. And somehow we were just capable of rising to the occasion.
weren't flashy jazz players. They just riffed, you know. They played 3 or 4 notes per riff, and they just stuck to it, and it was soul music.
We were mainly trying to make dance music, make people happy and get people up. You know, even the lyrics of the songs were designed to keep people happy, keep their spirits up, and not so much about the blues and that sort of thing. So I think that is what made Stax so successful.
This is our Wilson Pickett, you know, another Wilson Pickett at 4 in the Bar cowbell song.
Written by Wilson Pickett and Steve Cropper. Here we go, number 14. Drove my first car to this record. Had my first girlfriend. Made love to this record. I played this song a million times, I'm sure. It was a standard.
I'm gonna wait till the stars come out and see that twinkle in your eyes. I'm gonna wait till midnight hour. That's when my love began to shine. You're the only girl I know that really loves me so in the midnight hour.
He's a real screamer. He's a real R&B screamer, you know. Nobody can scream like Wilson Pickett.
And he also was just such a great groove. I mean, he could just get that heel going and, you know, all of those things that he did. When he'd go into an ad-lib, he'd go, oh, I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, see my Jesus in the midnight hour, da-da-da. And I said, man, he said this thing 3 or 4 times, midnight hour is a thing. And so anyway, I brought that idea to him and this little groove and so forth. It was really probably the best example of what you would call a delayed backbeat, where the 1 and the 3 is on and the 2 and the 4 are just slightly behind the beat, you know, and it just keeps pushing the record along. Going, you know, and it's just a slight delay, but musically is what made Midnight Hour such a great song.
That was Wilson Pickett on the Midnight Hour.
I hear a Wilson Pickett or a sound on a record, and I want to make one of those, you know, with the cowbell going 4 in the bar and the chord change going doom or whatever.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day, and it's cold outside. I've got the month of May. Oh, I guess you say what can make me feel this way. It's my girl talking about my girl.
What we did, we would come up with ideas of songs that we really liked, that we liked to hear on the radio. And we would go grab a copy of the record in a record shop, play it to everybody, write the lyrics down for the singer, and probably cut it in 2 or 3 takes, and we made it ours. We sort of redesigned it. We did that with a lot of songs, you know, and like I said, I'm impressed that we're on this jukebox with that. Dum, 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 boom, you know.
Otis was, everybody took his style and, you know, reincorporated, turned it around a little bit and worked it, you know.
When I first heard him, he was doing Little Richard. Excellent job, Little Richard. He was doing, imitating a lot of other acts. It was great, And then I heard him do Sam Cooke. And it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
And here's this guy that's bigger than life, big, tall guy, that can sing ballads like Sam Cooke and sing as rough and ready as Little Richard.
So much loving flowed the bees and the me. I got a sweeter song that I can sing, better than the birds in the tree. Oh, I guess you will say, what can make me feel this way? It's my girl talking about my girl.
He was so soulful. And the fact that his timing was impeccable, his groove and the way he danced and all that, I mean, he was perfect.
Everybody help me sing it now. Hey, hey, hey. One more time. Hey, hey,
Well, it's interesting he spelled Otis Redding with 2 T's. Otis Redding. I mean, I don't analyze handwriting, but it'd be interesting if we could get somebody who did. Well, I mean, it was the Beatles, really, who awoke us all to black music in the 60s. I don't think we'd have heard it without the Beatles. You know, they recorded a lot of Smokey Robinson songs and sort of brought him into our view. So we owe a lot to that.
John was really into black music. He's like a true musician. I don't think he looked at it like the real colors, he just looked at it for what it was, you know what I'm saying?
Can't you see that I'm lonely? Rescue me. So this is Rescue Me by Fontella Bass.
rescue me, or take me in your arms, rescue me. I want your tender charm, 'cause I'm lonely and I'm blue. I need you and your love too. Come on and rescue me. Come on, baby, and rescue me. Come on, baby, and rescue me. 'Cause I need you by my side. Can't you see that I'm lonely? Rescue me.
Rescue Me. Oh, Fontella Bass. I love her. She's great.
Well, you know, come on, baby, because I need you. You know, you come in, I need you, baby. I love you. I want you, you know. And he said, yeah, you know, that type of thing, you know.
That record, to me, is in a class with Aretha Franklin's performances. I think it's that good. And I like the song very much, but she is just a killer on that song.
It's not just a love song, you know, it's got political overtones to it, too. It means more than just because I want you, I love you. You know, there's a lot of things were going on in '65, you know, Vietnam, the Watts riots and the whole thing, and everybody was in turmoil. A lot of negative things were going on, you know, so that was the thought behind the record, you know, come on, baby, you know, let's get it together.
Come on, baby, and rescue me. Come on, baby, and rescue me. 'Cause I need you by my side. Can't you see that I'm lonely? Rescue me.
At the time, you know, we had rhythm and blues, and then we had the pop. And when it goes pop, that meant that the whites were buying the record. And while we were recording Rescue Me, they wanted to add another verse, you know. Well, I didn't know the other verse because, you know, it was something they had put in. Well, anyway, the paper slid off the stand. So I didn't want to stop the tape because the band was playing. So I said, and that's how the got in Rescue Me.
Rescue me.
I am the only woman on the jukebox. And I'm glad of that because I want to represent the ladies. And I was representing the ladies then. I still do Rescue Me. I have a low speaking voice, but I have a high singing voice. I still sing Rescue Me in the same key. Rescue me. take me in your arms. I can see that I love you too.
Just simplicity. That's really what it is. Simplicity and emotion.
Do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart? How the music can free her whenever it starts, and it's magic. If the music is groovy and makes you feel happy like an old-time movie, I'll tell you about the magic and it'll free your soul. But it's like trying to tell a stranger about a rock and roll. If you believe in magic, don't bother to choose if it's...
Oh, this is really something. I see he's got the name wrong here. He's got Lovin' Spoonfuls. I guess he took out Send You Back to Georgia. There's some mysteries on here.
Do You Believe in Magic was the first Lovin' Spoonful single. It was the first thing that I wrote that was ever visible. It is heavily leaning on a bunch of other songs, as most songs do. At that time, when radio had more than one culture per station, there was a tune called Heat Wave by Martha and the Vandellas. As we were listening to it, I remember thinking, gee, I wonder if these chords are so exciting as they climb, I wonder if climbing twice as fast would make it twice as exciting. And that's what the intro to Do You Believe in Magic is, kind of a strangely altered Martha and the Vandellas Heat Wave. You know, the Spoonful is accused of optimism a lot. But if there was anything that drew us together towards one attitude, it was the fact that there was the protest movement that was having such a day during that time, and being done well by Bob Dylan, but not necessarily by the second tier of players that imitated him. The Spoonful did not want to have any part of, well, I'm kind of got my toe in pop music, but I really have a concern for international affairs, because, frankly, we're entertainers. You know, what insight are you going to gain from entertainers about what's going on?
What a day for a daydream. What a day for a daydreaming boy. And I'm lost in a daydream. Dreaming about...
I grew up in Greenwich Village on Washington Square West. And Washington Square on Sundays would be countless hootenannies and an entire culture of people learning to play instruments. And in many ways, this was school. A few years ago, a friend of mine sent me this recorded tape of the Beatles rehearsing, and there is this fragment where John is working his way through Daydream. And there were a couple of problems, and if you listen carefully, you can hear him say, damn tunesmiths. I hope in admiration rather than total frustration.
Daydream is a pretty straightforward tune with pretty straightforward chords. I guess that the only thing that might have puzzled them was that most people, like, so... That's all easy, because that's just major chords. But then, when we get to here, there's other substitute chords that you could think those things were. Sir Paul was very gracious about saying that Daydream played heavily in the creation of Good Day Sunshine. So to have influenced those boys is a wonderful thing for a songwriter because, of course, they influenced me, they influenced all of us.
But those days I wrote obscurely a la Dylan, I suppose, you know. Never saying what you mean, but giving an impression of something. You know, you just stick a few images together, thread them together, and what you call it poetry, or maybe it is, then that's poetry. He wasn't ever that political, really, but he never stood on the corner and shouted or anything. He did his job as a poet. It's poetry of the day.
Positively, 4th Street has a flavor that came into Bob's writing in and around here somewhere, which was this kind of truth-sayer thing, where everything you say is wrong, and his thing is to tell you why. And then he turned that same attitude on love songwriting.
You see me on the street, you always act surprised. You say, how are you, good luck, but you don't mean it.
I guess there's some speculation that in the song, Joan Baez is the creature in question.
Joan Baez was the goddess of folk music. I have to tell you, Joni said she got a shine from John, and I think John got a shine from Joni. And when I met Joan in 1965, I was enamored, falling in love with folk music. It meant falling in love with Joan Baez.
Your smile beams like sunlight on a girl's wing, and the leaves dance and play after you. Take my hand and hold it as you would a flower. Take care with my heart, oh darling, she's made of glass.
May of 1965, amazing things were happening. The folk music world would soon infiltrate the pop culture, and it moves me because On the Jukebox is my third single, Turquoise. In the pastel skies of sunset, I have wandered with my eyes and ears and heart strained to the full. I know I we're young. He was young. Okay, he was 3 years older than me. I was the younger brother of all of them. But we were young enough to be in love. So it's natural that John would choose love songs. In the actual poetry of the song I sang on that jukebox, your smile beams like sunlight on a gull's wing. And maybe John felt the stirrings of where we would actually meet again in India, where I would teach him certain things about folk music that he needed to know. Already, John had heard Bobby doing things like, "Don't think twice, it's all right. Don't think twice, it's all right." But I'd learned all that stuff already from Jack Elliott and the Carter family. And when we were in India, John said, "How do you do that?" I said, "What?" He said, "That stuff, you know, with your fingers." I said, "Well, it's a pattern." 3 days later, he had learned it, and a whole new world opened up for his songwriting. Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? Prudence was Mia Farrow's sister. She was in deep meditation. Because the yogi said she had to go in there. John didn't know whether she should stay in there. So he wrote this song. Won't you come out to play? The sun is bright, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? You see, I'm a solo artist, and maybe that's what John loved about us solo artists, that we could actually do it without a band. Maybe by then he was pissed off being a Beatle, you know. He just wanted to do it himself. And then you got all those, you know, a working class hero is something to be. He actually wanted to just solo it out, you know. Maybe he felt trapped in a four-piece band.
As you do it over and over again, you start repeating little movements, repeating little licks, repeating little attitudes, repeating little things like that. So in that respect, the Beatles' live creativity had gone mid-60s. And then it's like a love affair. The early stuff was the equivalent of the beginning of a relationship of people in love. And the Sgt. Pepper Abbey Road period was the period of maturity in the relationship. And maybe it was a marriage that had to end.
I don't remember the chords or the lyrics or anything of the Beatles stuff. I still go back to the stuff the Beatles performed before they wrote. All I thought I wanted to do was just sing a bit of rock and roll and not be responsible and have something deep to say and just sing Bebop-a-Lula, you know.
Bebop-a-Lula, she's my baby. Bebop-a-Lula, don't be lazy. Bebop-a-Lula, she's my baby. Bebop-a-Lula, don't be lazy. Bebop-a-Lula, she's well, she's the gal in the red blue jeans. She's the queen of all the cheese.
Let's go.